everyone, my name is Justin. Welcome to my channel. Today I am filming a video giving my initial thoughts on the Grand Prix assignments for the senior men in the 2021-22 figure skating season, also in an Olympic year, which makes things so exciting. A few days ago, I filmed a video giving my thoughts on the assignments for the ladies. So if you want to check that out, that's on my YouTube channel if you feel free to do so. But that video was also 30 minutes long, and my goal is to make this video a fraction of that length. I believe I went through a lot of the athletes and gave background on their potential, and I just won't be doing that in this video. That won't be difficult because in men's figure skating, to be honest, a lot of times it comes down to who can rack up as many points technically by doing as many quads, triple axels, difficult combinations, and sometimes those elements don't have to be done well if you do enough of them and rack up the points. There's also a phenomenon of men who compete with multiple quads earning a higher program component marks, aka the artistic side of the scoring system, than what they actually deserve. I'm not going to delve into that in this video. I'm just providing context on why this video could be shorter. So with any of the 6 Grand Prix events leading up to the final, it's hard to say who I think could win because it just depends on whether or not the athletes have the jumps going for them that day or not. So we'll see. But let's go ahead and give an overview. First things first, if you want to look at what I'm looking at, which is the PDF of the assignments, I will provide a link in the description box of this video. And then number 2, if you want to see my shirt, it is the Toronto Maple Leafs shirt, Pride Edition. It was recently Pride Month and also Canada Day, so I am repping 2 occasions in this one video, so I'm really excited to do so. And there's a potential this video could go all over the place, so to keep things a little organized, I think I will discuss by countries. So let's start with Canada. First off, I got to say, I am so excited that all 3 of the top Canadian men have 2 assignments. So Roman Sadovsky, Keegan Messing, and Nam Nguyen. That is really important because there's 2 Olympic spots for them to fight for, but I think to make the best case possible, they have to perform well throughout the entire season, beginning with the Grand Prix competitions. I don't think it's smart to have average outings on the Grand Prix, but have the skate of your life at nationals before the Olympics. So Nam Nguyen is going to want to show up to Skate America ready to go. And then what's interesting is that at Skate Canada International, Keegan Messing will go head-to-head with Roman Sadovsky. So that'll be interesting to see. Keegan, I believe, is still known as the leading Canadian man internationally. He finished in the top 10 at the last World Figure Skating Championships, earning the 2nd spot for the men at the Olympics. And then Roman Sadovsky is the reigning national champion, and he's been rising in the ranks because of his popularity and his lyrical skating abilities and his growing consistency, minus team trophy. But most notably the consistency with the quad salchow. But I think whichever Canadian man finishes on top at Skate Canada International will be telling leading into Canadian Nationals before the Olympics. So that's so exciting. For the TBA spot, I hope it goes to Joseph Fan. He's one of my favorite skaters as well. He's just such a beautiful sight on the ice, amazing spins, positions, deep edges, and if he could get a consistent quad, which I think he's working towards, I think I've seen him land a clean quad a few times recently. So if that can be done in competition, he's just so great to watch. Not sure about an Olympic spot, but I think he's for sure the future of Canadian men's skating. And now moving on to the Americans, of course, I have to start with Nathan Chen. He has 2 assignments, which is a given. They are Skate Canada and Skate America back to back, one after the other, which is quite unusual to see. But I think Nathan Chen is up for that challenge if he plans accordingly. Traveling from Las Vegas to Vancouver, British Columbia, I don't think it's that difficult. The time change won't be too hard to adjust to. And I'm looking at the roster now. I'd say at Skate America, his biggest competition is Shoma Uno. And then Skate Canada, it could be one of the Japanese men, such as Keiji Tanaka, or one of the Russian men. But I expect Nathan to qualify for the Grand Prix final quite easily. And it's an Olympic year, so I hope he paces himself accordingly. Then at Skate America, we also have Vincent Zhou. And I always like to say that Vincent is someone who wants to close the gap between what he scores and Nathan Chen scores, especially at nationals. And he's done a good job of that a few times, but I don't think that's worked out too well recently. But it doesn't mean he's going to stop trying. Of course, he has some other competitors here that he's going to want to fight for to land on the podium. And then he has a second assignment at NHK Trophy. And actually, a lot of the top US men have 2 assignments this year, so that's great to see. Most notably also is Jason Brown, who my friend Mai is the biggest fan of. She is super fan of Jason Brown, super knowledgeable about everything in his life, I feel like. So any questions about him, just go to her because she is that amazing. But he'll also be at Skate Canada, and that works out for him because he trains in Canada with Brian Orser and Tracy Wilson. And then his second Grand Prix event is at the International de France. So that should be a good one for him too. I love to see my boy Tomoki Hiwatashi with such great energy and spunk get 2 assignments. Same with Camden Polkinen. Oh, I just love seeing these names. The TBA spot, I'm not going to guess who it would go to. Hopefully someone who really deserves it. It could be Jimmy Ma again. It could be someone else who finished in the top 6 at nationals last year, because we had some newer names in the top 6 at the 2021 US National Figure Skating Championships. And then let's move on to the next country, Japan. Yuzuru Hanyu has 2 assignments because duh, he is one of the greatest of all time. His assignments are NHK Trophy, which is expected, and then Rostelecom Cup in Sochi, Russia. So it'll be interesting to think that he's going back to a place that will give him great memories of 2014 when he won the gold medal. And he has 2 Olympic gold medals under his belt. That's exciting. It's just a little odd to not see him get Skate Canada just because we're so used to Yuzuru Hanyu, Skate Canada, NHK Trophy every single year. But a lot of times things are switched up in an Olympic year, so we just have to go with the flow. Shoma Uno, as I said earlier, he's at Skate America and also NHK Trophy. So we'll see Yuzu and Shoma go head-to-head against each other before the Grand Prix final. So we'll see how the scoring works out there. Consistency is going to play a factor in it, but also I'd be interested to see the program components compared one another, especially if they're both relatively clean. I think that should be telling leading up to the rest of the season. And then we have Yuma Kageyama, who made such a splash last season, mainly because he won the silver medal at the World Figure Skating Championships over teammate Yuzuru Hanyu. Neither of them had the perfect free skate, but great short programs. And Yuma is such an amazing skater. He reminds me a lot of Shoma Uno, just because neither of them are really tall. But Yuma is also really young, so he has some time to refine his skating skills a bit. But like Shoma, I think he skates really powerful, really fast. His jumps are like big and landed very securely for someone of his height. Great spin positions. He just, needs to gain some experience and project upward and outward more. But I think that's just going to come with time. As I said earlier, Shoma Uno has the edge just from having years and years of experience of competing. And Shoma Uno is also an Olympic medalist, so of course he has that experience to rely on to get him through an amazing program with such amazing moves. I always love a good cantilever from Shoma. But yeah, Yuma, if you want to see how great he is, I would actually recommend watching his programs at NHK Trophy, which he won. And I would watch the free skate because that was cleaner there than at the World Figure Skating Championships. But I've seen him do a clean quad toe and quad salchow. I'm wondering if he has any other quads in his arsenal, because that would make the competitions a lot more exciting. We'll have to see. And then let's move on to Russia. When I think of Russia, I think the top male skater is Mikhail Koliata. He's come so far since I first discovered him at the 2016 World Figure Skating Championships in Boston, where he skated in the first group, I believe, for the short program and ended up skating in the final group for the free skates. He has textbook perfect jumps, especially when they are on. Most notably, I think his triple axel always seems spot on, and also his quadlets, which I haven't seen in a while. I believe at the last World Figure Skating Championships, I saw the quad toe and quad salchow. I would love to see the quadlets again, because when that's clean, chef's kiss. It almost looks so perfect. His performance quality is stellar. I think he has a chance to win his Grand Prix events and to do well at other competitions. He's a former world medalist and a medalist at the European Championships, so he can be a surprise factor for the gold medal, or at least the podium, for any competition he enters. Let's see, what are his assignments? Let's take a look here. So his assignments are Cup of China and Rostelecom Cup. Yay! So excited to see him skate. And then another Russian skater I wanted to talk about is Evgeny Semenenko. So he finished in the top 10 at Worlds, I believe, but he was also the junior national champion. He's very tall, expressive in quite a theatrical way. His skating style is very Russian, which is never boring to a skating audience. He is also someone who goes for multiple quads in each program, it seems like, but his overall skating quality is not yet refined, and it is reflected in his program component marks. So a medal on the Grand Prix competitions would mean he'd have to skate relatively clean and probably rely on mistakes from others. I mentioned Yuma Kageyama earlier of Japan. I'd say he also has lower program component marks just from the slight lack of refinement in his skating compared to his teammates. But I'd say Evgeny has an even further disadvantage in PCS, so he's really going to rely on the consistency. But I love watching his skating. As I said earlier, it's very theatrical, and he's actually very tall and statuesque, so it'll be interesting to see what he's able to pull off this season. Then let's talk about China. So at the Cup of China is the only time we get to see the Chinese men compete, unfortunately. We'll see both Bo Yangjin and Hanyan. Hanyan is my absolute favorite. Have I said that a few times in this video, calling people my favorites? I have multiple favorites, but Hanyan is definitely up there. We love his program too. I believe it's 1,000 Miles and Romeo and Juliet. I'm excited to see what his new material is going to be, and the triple axel is always the best jump from him. We'll see if there's a quad. Bo Yangjin unfortunately didn't do so well at the last World Figure Skating Championships. There's only one spot at the Olympics for China, unfortunately. Hopefully the decision is not a hard one, so whoever wins or places higher than the other at Cup of China wins Chinese nationals. That would make things pretty simple. Who else can I talk about? Kevin Amos of France, who just came out as being part of the LGBTQ community, by the way, which is really great. He is someone who is extremely musical and does a really good job of listening to the music and skating to it in his programs, as we saw last year. So I'm expecting to see more performances of that sort from him on the season. He has 2 assignments as well, I believe. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so we'll see him at Skate America and at the International de France. Oh, and it's also great to see Junhwa Cha get 2 Grand Prix assignments, because he started off his senior career on the Grand Prix so well and kind of lost the consistency for a bit, but he's so entertaining to watch. Also trains in Canada with the Brian Orser camp. He's always such a joy to watch, and I'm excited to see what programs he comes up with this season. So I apologize, my battery is running low. So I'm going to end this video right here. If there's anything I missed that you are super excited about, please leave it down in the comments below and we can discuss that. But I am so excited to see the men compete this season. It's going to be a game of the quads. How many quads? Which kind of quads? Who can put it all together? It's all going to be very much a great show to watch. Thank you for viewing this video, and I'll catch you in my next one. Goodbye.